where the cards was able to detect that one of the cards brought there was not INEC's card. And so the first objective which INEC listed there to ensure that those were verified, perhaps INEC will say, there you go, we were able to spot that one. But the PDP notwithstanding says, look, there you go. It shows that some of those cards were being cloned out there. But then the PDP also says, look, some of the errors are too huge to be neglected. So that's Uche Secondus, the PDP's National Deputy Chairman. Then the APC also responds to some of the allegations making the rounds about cloning or who was cloning what in the PVC. The allegations were inanities, APC says, and as a government in waiting, we are busy investigating our time, investing our time and energy, finding solutions to Nigeria's problems. So the APC eventually put up that commentary, and so you can see the rest of them, which perhaps we'll touch on as the program progresses. So the argument is going back and forth from both political parties, even other parties. Even you are also speaking up about it. Don't forget, you can speak a lot more in the course of the program in here today. But remember, what they tell you, INEC did meet amongst themselves, and then they came up with a comment afterwards. Here is what they say.
Resident electoral commissioners at a meeting with the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on how to deliver free, fair and credible elections. The chairman of the commission advised the commissioners to put in their best in the conduct of the polls.
We need to remain focused and resilient, and we need to do everything possible to ensure that the elections scheduled for March 28th and April 11th are indeed substantially much better than the elections that were conducted in 2011 and in the subsequent by-elections since 2011.
For some Nigerians who are still pessimistic about the elections, Professor Jega has this to say.
I want to use this opportunity to reassure all Nigerians that we in the Commission are doing our best, and our best will be good enough in terms of meeting the aspirations of Nigerians for free, fair and credible elections. But as we have said constantly, everybody has a role to play in ensuring free, fair, credible and peaceful elections.
While the meeting with the commissioners continued behind closed doors, a group called the Original Abuja Inhabitants staged a protest outside the commission over the use of card readers in the general elections.
The guy lied to Nigerians that he was ready for February 14 election. Was it not a lie? He was holding mock election on Saturday. If he was ready for elections, why does he have to hold mock election now? What we are saying is that the PVC machine is a total fraud.
Attempts by the Assistant Director, Security of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mr. Victor Egbo, to address the protesters was resisted. Although the meeting, according to Professor Jega, is aimed at reviewing outstanding issues relating to the permanent voters' cards and field testing of the card readers, among other issues, the protest by the inhabitants may be an indication that the Commission has more work to do to convince Nigerians on the importance of card readers for the general elections.
So there you have some of the voices also trying to get heard about their view on what they think of the entire process of the card readers, the permanent voter cards. Well, that's our analysis for tonight, and let me go ahead and join, he is here today, Kidi Isuguzo, the Chairman, Editorial Board of Vanguard Newspapers. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much.
It's a democracy. Ideas will contend. Many will speak up about what they feel they strongly about, but some will ask you, yes, they could protest, but there are those who just don't understand. Again, they wonder, why these protests? INEC has said time and again, especially from the statements today, even the ones earlier this week, in the last paragraph of some of those statements, they say, we will ensure we do all that we can to guarantee free, fair, and credible elections. What more do people want? Do you think this is tenable on the part of INEC?
Well, it is, but the way INEC sounds is so arrogant that you would think INEC is discussing an election built for next year. This election should have held almost a month ago, but what we've seen since February 14th indicated that INEC was not prepared. And instead of INEC apologizing to Nigerians and explaining that it's grappling with the fact that it wasn't prepared, it's telling us it was satisfied with the mock trial of the PVCs. The satisfaction shouldn't be INEC, it should be Nigerians, ordinary people who will use these cards on that day. You know, so when INEC sounds that way, it gives you the impression it does not even understand what the issues are. The issues are people can't still collect their cards up to this moment. And then you do a test in 12 states out of 36, and there are even issues in those 12 states. And then you're telling us you are satisfied. Satisfied with what? Satisfied with the fact that a month after the elections were supposed to have been held, you are now doing voter education? Has INEC told Nigerians what would have happened on 14th of February if the elections were held? So some of these people talking about INEC in that manner, they're talking about the fact of its arrogance, its lack of relationship with the way Nigerians feel about the elections, and a poor understanding of the fact that the way INEC is managing the election, it looks like you're taking somebody to the brink and you're waiting to retrieve the person. It won't go that way with an election. You know, INEC itself also seems to be learning about the card reader as it goes along. It talks with such certainty about this instrument working, and then when it doesn't work, it goes backwards and says things and so on. The local government you're talking about in Abakaliki, so what happened? Okay. Why could you have that type of failure in that place?
We've got the man who is in charge of voter education. He's Director of Voter Education for INEC, Oluwole Osaze Uzi. He joins us via Skype from our studios in Abuja. Good evening and thank you for joining us today. I mean, some part of the earlier opening comment of Ikedi speaking about you embarking on voter education now. He doesn't see why you'll be satisfied where you say you are. What do you think of his comments?
Well, thank you for having me. Well, I'm a bit surprised at Kedi's comments because he ought to know that we have, in the past few months, been enlightening people, educating the Nigerian public that, look, we are going to use those card readers. We have, even before last week Saturday, publicly demonstrated, especially in the FCT, the use of these card readers. We have held meetings with our stakeholders, we've demonstrated to political parties, to civil society, to the media, and several other groups of people, taking them through the use of these card readers. And for him to also draw conclusions that INEC was not ready, I don't think it's a fair comment for circumstances. If you say somebody is not ready for a thing, you go through the process. What are the yardsticks that we did not meet? What are the milestones that we have not met? Card reader is just a tiny little part of the preparations for the elections. Let us go through all these and let us see which of those yardsticks. Was it training? Was it deployment? Was it the receipt of materials? Every other thing, I think, as far as we're concerned, we've been quite ready for it. The card readers arrived in good time. These card readers have been simulated, they've been tested both locally and abroad. And they've also done, we had also the filters in the FCT. The stakeholders cannot do that. The political parties have never said they were not informed of all the steps we're taking towards the deployment of these card readers, since we're talking about the card readers now. He may not be aware, but we've demonstrated this to the media, where representatives of his news organization were there. We've demonstrated this to the political parties and to all other major stakeholders.
What do you think of this protest and in some cases consternation against your commission about the card readers and the PVC, in fact, your preparedness for the elections on the whole?
Yes, well, it's a democracy, and I think you said that in your opening statement. It's part of the essence and beauty of democracy that people should air their views, their concerns, and hold individuals and institutions, especially public institutions, accountable for things. And when they're not sure, they should make inquiries about these things, and let both the authorities and the general public know how they feel about things. So it's a welcome thing, not to run consider it strange in any way. In the same way that you have people demonstrating against what's going on, you have so many demonstrating in support. That, I think, is the essence and the beauty of democracy. And in any case, I monitored your programs right from Saturday, and you had a cross-section of people. And I think the vast majority of those who turned out for the exercise were more than satisfied with what they observed.
All right, we'll have more inquiries in the course of the program here today, so just hang on. We'll be back in just a moment. after the break.